Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm going to do a quick tutorial today, hopefully quick because I don't know, it could take a little while. It's my first time using Copics live on the camera, so I usually do this when I'm in my room by myself, but today I'm going to share with you how I made this little card. It is a little easel card, and like I said, I did color it with my Copics. This one was really pretty simple to color, so I feel pretty confident that I can show you how I did it with using my Copics. I usually use Prismacolor pencils, and you could easily do the same techniques that I'm about to show you with the Copics. You could just convert that over to your Prisma pencils as well. This is that little easel card using the new Diezyne dies. CC Designs makes these and sells them on their site. I will have these in my Etsy store. I haven't ordered them yet, but I will have them in my Etsy store shortly. I do like this because you get all the different sizes. And the one I'm using today is the second one from the outside. That's the one I'm going to use to cut out our little image. And then for the actual card base itself, to cut this part out, I will be using the Diezyne dies to do a half circle. And this usually comes with two in there, but I'm using this one for this card today. And that'll cut out the back part of our card. Okay? So I'll show you that later after I get to the coloring and get that finished. Then we'll go ahead and assemble the card. So let's get started. I already stamped my image. I stamped it in Memento ink, jet black. I'm sorry, Tuxedo Black is the name of this one. So I stamped it in the Tuxedo Black. And let's get started. The first thing I did first on here was I did go along the outside of my image. So just go, it does get lighter too. It goes on kind of dark at the beginning, but you'll see it will get a little lighter as it dries. Let me zoom in a little closer. Like I said, this is my first tutorial on using Copics, so hopefully I will get better as I go along. Okay, so that's the outside of the image. And then for the sign itself, just did a real light, just to make the white pop a little better. Just real light flicks around the edges. Like I said, this definitely, to switch to the Prismas, you'd want to use one of the 20% colors, either the sky blue or any of the really lighter pencils. I like the 20% cool gray for going around the edges of my, and just like that, that's really, I just need the white to pop a little bit next to the edges of the color where we do have a little color on there. Okay, so now we'll go to the skin tones, and she hardly has any skin showing at all. So for this one, and I'm sorry, this number that I used for my outline was BG 000, and then for the inside of the sign I used W00. Okay, and then for the skin I'm going to use E00, and she's got just a little bit showing here and a little showing here, and then for her, this little bit of leg showing just like that, and then I'll go in with a little bit of E11 just to get a little shadow by her skirt, maybe down here. And we'll call that done because he goes. Okay, moving on. And let's move on to her skirt, which for her skirt I used YG61 and YG63. Those were the two I used. So I start with my, actually on this one I started with my, sometimes I switch back and forth. Sometimes I start with my lightest, sometimes I start with my darkest. On this one I went a little dark because I just wanted a little bit random around the swirls. Just a little bit here and there, just so that it doesn't look all solid in one color. Just a little bit. Okay, and then I went in with my other color, my YG61, and I just blended everything out. First go around, I wasn't exact on getting it totally colored. I was mostly just blending out that darker shade at first. Okay, and if it needs any extra color here and there, you can darken it up a little bit. And then go back in with your lighter color. Just like that. And then on the sides of her dress, I'm using the YG61. Actually, it's her tummy area. And then go in and do just a little bit of the YG63. Just around the edges, and then blend that out. And then when I was all done with her dress, I went in with BG000. And the reason I did is because the paper that I used on this card is kind of a in between a teal color and a green. So it just seemed like every time I held a color next to it, it was either too green or too blue. So when I was done with this green, I thought it looked a little too green. So I just went over everything with this lighter BG color, the BG000, just to give it a little hue of the blue-green. Just like that. And that's all I did. Okay, and then we'll move on to the little butterfly. Was super easy. This little butterfly, I just used Y32 just on this little teeny area. Actually, on her, I did the outside area, just a little. I mean, it's so tiny, it really doesn't take much at all. So a little of the yellow, and then I went in with the darker green, the YG63, just down these little inside bits right there. And I called it done. It's so tiny, it doesn't need much coloring. Okay, so there's our little girl all done. That was super easy to color. Oh, you know what? I forgot the outside edge. Sorry about that. I forgot that the edge that I did, I made it all the same. So this one I'm going in with my lighter green, just running a little color. Like that, and then I went in with my darker green just by her hands down here at the base. Just flicked it out a little bit. just blend that out with your lighter green. And I don't usually color standing up, so I can see some areas that I went off a little bit outside the lines with my coloring. You can fix that with the colorless blender. And just like that. Okay, so that's the coloring done. Let's switch over and get my card base. I've already cut my card. It's a standard A2 size, 5.5 by 4.25. So I went ahead and I cut it out already, and I did glue down my paper, which again I just did it 1/4 inch smaller than the base. So that would be 4 inches by 5.25 for the printed paper. And then I did do a score line here to cut the paper in half. And then I also did a score line here, which was at 2 1/8 is where I scored here. And you need this score line here because the dies fit in here. And you can feel the line that's here. This is where it actually just puts a crease line. So if you put it right next to where you've scored it, and this is nice too because look at, you could either do a side version, you could put it in the middle, you could put it over on this side if you wanted. I've also cut the card straight up and down and not horizontal, and it works great that way as well. So to make it like the one I did, I'm going to grab my Big Shot and zoom out a little bit. Okay, so there's that. Let me just bring out my Big Shot, get this in where it's going to go. So like I said, you just want to put that line right next to the score line, and you can feel it on the die when it stops. So if you like to tape your things down or you have the magnetic base, you're good to go. You definitely want your card open. You don't want it closed, or else you're going to have this cut through both layers. So you really want your card open. This is the back side, this is the front side. And then just put that through. It looks like I shifted in here just a little bit because I did not bring my tape over. All right, I gotta get a piece of tape. Hold on. Okay, that should hold me until I run it through. Okay. Okay, remove your tape very carefully so you don't pull off any of your background paper. Just like that. Take the die off. And as you can see, it cut that just so nice. So just give it a little reinforcing on that score line right there. So what you're going to do is when you design the inside, you'll need a little matching paper or solid cardstock to go here. And then what you're going to want to do is put a little bit of foam tape under it to pop it up. See how you see a little foam tape under there? And then that way it gives your edge something to actually stop on. And if you didn't put the flowers on here, you certainly could mail this. It's not that thick that you could mail it. You wouldn't want to do the bow. You might want to keep it flatter, but you could definitely run this through the mail without these bulky items that I put on my card. So there's that, and then what you're going to do is you're going to place your little image wherever you want it to go. If you want it to have just a little border showing, I think that looks really nice too. You could scoot it up if you wanted and have just a little border. It's whatever you want to do. And I've also done one where this one I just cut out an extra little scallop edge and put that over the circle like that. So you have some options on this one. Okay, so you'll just stick that down, embellish how you want to embellish it, that's pretty much it. These dies were really easy to use. I can't wait to do some class projects with this. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and hopefully I'll see you back here again real soon. Thanks for coming by today. Again, here's our little card.